Reds. I hope you're doing well in this Friday, Furahi day. A wonderful afternoon, wherever I am. It's sunny. It's not as hot as you would think it is. It's a little bit breezy, a little bit cold, but it's okay. It's wonderful. It's wonderful. So, Karibu Sana, I just wanted to talk to you guys about something today. As you can see, the topic there it's Tribeless, Leaderless, and Partyless Kenya. And the 2027 question. I won't hold you today. I'll be brief if you're going to join this later on. Watch this on repeat. Please, as you know, the first order of business is what? Like the video, and if it's your first time, you haven't subscribed yet, and you're just coming across this video, please take your sweet time, just a moment, and subscribe to the channel. Hit that subscribe button. Put your notification on. Make sure it's on so every time I come in, you can always get me here. You know, you'll be notified when I'm live, and you can always chime in on the chat if you're too shy to come in the studio to share your view, debate, disagree, agree, or just give your 2 cents like we did yesterday. You're always welcome, whichever way. Today, I'm just going live straight with YouTube. I'm not using StreamYard, so I won't be able to bring you into the studio so we can have like a face-to-face exchange. But you can always come in the church. Come in the church. Yes, go to church too. But I'm just saying you can always hit me on the comment section. I'll read your comment and respond, okay? Just keep it respectful. All right, so I'm assuming you've subscribed, you've liked, and you've also shared it in a political, chat where it's WhatsApp groups and all the social media outlets there, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, which is now known as X, what's the other one? TikTok, whatever the case, whatever you're using, Telegram. Share this with your friends. If you are in the political circle and within Kenya, please go ahead and share it with your political friends, whether they're MCS, the president, whatever the case is. You get the idea, okay? Share it, okay? Share, like, subscribe, and all that stuff, all right? Thank you so much. Now, the topic is pretty straightforward, and as you can read it, it says partyless, leaderless, tribeless Kenya. Now, I like this kind of mantra. Obviously, it comes from the 2025 June. That's when it came famous, when the Gen Zs went and took over the parliament, Kenyan parliament. And they said they were tribeless, leaderless, and partyless. And it was for a good reason. I like the thinking behind whoever came out with this whole idea, and I'll tell you why in a second. Now, let me just tell you, if you look at how Kenya's politics is set up, because I know there's a lot of talks right now within the all social circles where the Gen Zs are meeting up on X Spaces and other social media platforms where they are discussing how can they remove the president of Kenya, the current president of Kenya, who is Ruto, who has lost every iota cent of legitimacy. He is just operating on, I don't know what, running on E basically. No one wants to hear what he has to say. And his counterpart, Raila Odinga, also is not famous. You saw how the Shabana people treated him. But anyway, the discussion, most of the discussion is that a lot of people are trying to find ways, thinking about ways of removing Ruto. I'll give you guys a second. There's like a thing coming on, so I don't. Sorry guys, I'm just giving a minute. So there's somebody doing landscaping, so I'm just waiting for that landscaping vehicle to go through so I can continue with my view. I hope I'm audible now and you can hear me clearly. So what I'm trying to say is this. There's a lot of people, including Gen Zs or Kenyans in general, are thinking about how are we going to remove Ruto? Or, 2027 is coming on and everyone, it seems like the majority of people, unfortunately, and I really don't, I'll get to it. Majority of the people sort of are resigned to this idea that 2027, let's just wait till 2027 and see if we can vote William Samoei Ruto out of presidency. And I've been arguing that um, most likely he will stay in power because Ruto is renovating the State House. So do not expect him to be voted out. That's number one. Number two, we all now can see how they've narrowed down the people who are going to be possibly the next IBC commissioners. The same Kanu orphans, the same friendly people to basically handpick guys, people who have been handpicked by Ruto. So we already know the deal. It's going to be someone, even if Ruto is removed through, through the ballot, the person replacing Ruto will be still someone just as bad, if not worse than Ruto, okay? I know. Some of you are just over Ruto. You're like, oh, let's just get Ruto out, then later on we'll worry about who we can bring in. No. We have to think ahead. We have to think ahead. That's the same mistake we've been making. Remember the last time we were saying, Uhuru maliza yako uende, maliza utoke. We want anybody but not anyone, connected to Uhuru Kenyatta, okay? So we went to the ballot and we were like, oh, Raila Odinga is part of the dynasty, so let's vote for Ruto because he seems to be promising all these wonderful things. So let's just vote for him. And we voted for Ruto, and here we are. Now 2 years down the line, and we are talking about let's remove Ruto. Same place we were in 2022. So we are back to square one. So why can't we do something different to avoid what was happening last time? Now, let's jump into this whole idea of tribeless, partyless, and leaderless. If you look at how our politics is set up, okay, we always vote against something. You've had that argument. That's why I do not like it, but I have to say it. It's true. We go to the polling station on the voting day, okay? We go there to vote against something, okay? I know you have some presidential candidates who are, on the ballot paper where you have your choice. We hear them out. And like I said, if you narrow down to how people vote for a candidate, it's usually not issue-based. It's simply voting against whoever we are tired of. Or number two, we are voting for a particular candidate because that particular candidate is in coalition with our tribal chieftain who happens to have a political party in the area that I come from. So just because that political party, that political party of the area which I come from, for example, if I'm a lawyer, I'm from Kakamega, okay? And the Kakamega governor is, or the senator of Kakamega is Boni Kalwale, okay? And the place where I come from, which is Kakamega, the party of the area, okay? The political party that is, is popular in Kakamega is Ford Kenya, okay? And our senator, our so-called tribal chieftain of the area is Boni Kalwale. If Boni Kalwale goes into a coalition, political coalition with Raila Odinga, then I, as a voter or as someone from Kakamega who happens to be a lawyer who looks at Boni Kalwale as a tribal chieftain, will vote for Raila because Boni Kalwale has convinced me, okay, that voting for Raila, who has entered into a coalition agreement with Boni Kalwale's party, which is Ford Kenya, voting for Raila shall bring maendeleo and shall benefit me as a resident of Kakamega. You see what I'm saying? So it's all connected. Listen to me. I know you understand it, but I'll just explain it for the sake of it, okay? We vote through these three main points. We vote according to our tribal, so-called the perceived tribal leader of where we come from. That's why I used Boni Kalwale as an example, okay? So Boni Kalwale is the head of Kakamega. He's a lawyer. I come from Kakamega. I'm a lawyer. I'm just using this as an example, okay? So Boni Kalwale kind of is my leader. I look at him as a leader, and whichever direction he decides to take politically, that's where I shall follow and cast my vote. So Boni Kalwale has his party called Ford Kenya, okay? He's a lawyer, I'm a lawyer. He's the area tribal chieftain. I believe in him, I trust him. I believe that whichever way he goes, I go too. So I become, a Ford Kenya member or just support the party because that's the popular political party within the Kakamega area, right? So Ford Kenya decides to enter into a political coalition with Raila, who is going to be the presidential candidate. So that way, Boni Kalwale comes in and tells me, hey, we as lawyers, me as your political leader, and Ford Kenya as a political party, we are going to align ourselves with Raila Odinga in order to see that if he becomes president, ataleta maendeleo in Kakamega, and it will benefit the lawyers. You see the reasoning? You see the reasoning there? Did you get it? Okay? So it's kind of a trilateral, a triune deal, okay? Where you have your political leader of the MTA with the who comes in with the party, okay, which is famous within the area. That party seems to represent a particular community. In this case, lawyers, and the leader of that party is Kalwale, and Kalwale enters into a political coalition, whichever it will be, whether it's Ruto or Raila, where he will go, that's where we are going to cast our vote. You understand? So what I'm trying to say is this. Without us really thinking through, I'm not saying every Kenyan vote that way, but that's how majority of Kenyans, unfortunately, whether we like to admit it or not, think and vote, okay? That's why you see Raila supporters now who, 8 months ago were telling us Ruto is a terrible person, he's doing all these terrible things, has been brutalizing them. Now they're saying Ruto ni msafi kama pamba, he should go on. We are in government. It's okay. Baba mesema we are okay now. Baba mesema it's okay. Because the thinking is our tribal chieftain, who is Raila Odinga, coming from Nyanza province, Luo Nyanza, okay? The popular party in that area is ODM, and ODM has entered into a coalition or MOU agreement, whatever you want to call it, with the president who is part of UDA. Now we say Ruto is okay because our tribal chieftain has said, our tribal leader has said, Ruto is okay. They've entered into agreement. So sisi pia tunafikiria, okay, now we shall gain something. We'll have something to gain. There'll be some development in Luo Nyanza because our tribal leader has entered into agreement with Ruto, who happens to be head of the state. You see how we are thinking now? That's how it plays out. And it's not only, this is not limited to one community. It's all communities. Same thing with the on the central side. Okay? Tunaenda, we say, all right, TNA or Jubilee, our perceived tribal leader before Wamunyoro kind of popped up was Uhuru Kenyatta. Okay, even though that was a little peculiar, to be fair to the people of Central, even though Uhuru Kenyatta was trying to front Raila Odinga, okay, most people of Central Province felt uneasy about voting for Raila Odinga, okay? That's why people say Mount Kenya are not kind of, they just don't go by whatever. But if you understand the historical context of why these guys did not want to vote for Raila, because they've always felt uneasy. If you look at the political history or rivalry between the people of Central and the Luos, it stemmed from the whole the death of Tom Mboya. I'm not going to take you through that. Please go to your history books and read. You'll understand the whole story, the whole mess. Okay. That's why, and even if you look at Uhuru Kenyatta's campaign for Raila Odinga, he never went to Central Province, and he never went to Central Province. He never campaigned for Raila Odinga in Central Province because he understood that people were finding it hard to sell Raila in Central Province. Okay, so that's just that. But generally speaking, I'm saying this. Okay, there's this three-pronged way of looking at politics, like I have mentioned, through tribe, through your tribal leader, and the political party of the region. That's why you see in ODM, there's been a lot of violence against any party that has tried to oppose ODM in Luo Nyanza. You remember a few months ago when there were some people who were roughed up, shot, and almost killed, and Orengo came out in public supporting it. In fact, he even said, you know, if you find somebody who's trying to sell UDA or any other party outside of ODM, please beat him up. He said it in Luo. Beat him up and I will represent you. Okay? They are basically terrorizing anybody who comes into Luo Nyanza trying to sell another party other than ODM. The same thing happens if you go to Rift Valley. Go to Rift Valley today, go to, I don't know, Eldoret, go to Ukondani, Sugoi, whatever the case is. Try to sell Jubilee party there. Say, oh, ini party at Jubilee, we are opening an office here. You will be chased away. And I won't be surprised if they don't attack you violently. Okay? Because there's no political tolerance. That's another subject for another day. I'm just saying that regions, and that's how these people are getting us, they get their followers tethered. That's how they kind of draw lines, because when they do that, it's easy to control the population and it's easy to determine the winner of the coming elections, because it's simple math. You understand what I'm saying? If I know that Rift Valley is UDA, okay, like right now, that's why, you know, that's why you see these people they do all this simple math, because they know you guys are like robots. Tribalism, the idea of these tribal leaders or chieftains, okay, that present themselves as Raila Odinga and Kalonzo Musyoka and Uhuru Kenyatta, these guys are nothing more than tribal chieftains. They're not national leaders. They're not leaders at that. Absolutely not. They're tribal chieftains pretending to be leaders. And they use their money that they've stolen and looted to buy influence. That's why you look at them on the TV and you think that they're leaders. They're not leaders. These are criminals. But anyway, what I'm trying to emphasize here is this. These three things are very important, which we have to break from. It's hard because, again, if I was to give you homework and tell you, let's say if you're from Luo Nyanza, and if I tell you, hey, I want you to go to Nyanza province, Luo Nyanza area, and sell this idea of a tribeless, leaderless, partyless idea. Let's vote, not only based on our tribal tribe or leader or what? Party. You will be stoned. Of course, some of them will, you know, majority of the youths are super poor. They live in abject poverty. So if you have somebody like Gladys Wanga will give them money and, you know, give them shilingi miambili, and they'll rough you up. So people are intimidated. So you see what I'm saying? But that's something that we have to break from. That's why this whole idea of tribeless, leaderless, and partyless was a noble idea. Just look at those youth, what they were able to actually accomplish by going to Nairobi CBD and taking over the parliament. Can you imagine that? So imagine if we are too, if you were to have a real elections. I'm just using that as an example. I'll get to the 2027 idea, why I'm telling you this 2027 idea, this election should be also reviewed. I will talk about that too, but I just want to tackle this idea of tribeless, leaderless, and partyless. The idea of it. Why it is important to try to break from that. And it is very hard. Okay? Now, if you look at a place like Central Province, majority being Kikuyus, or the Gema Nation, whatever way you want to call it, that idea can be a refreshing, easily be accepted, because if you look at Central Province, it's ripe for change. Okay? Now, some people might argue, oh, they're uneasy because they feel like they've been betrayed by the whole idea about Ndindi Nyoro getting kicked out of the whatever committee and the real vice president, the first vice president, whatever, Rigathi Gachagua and all that. I don't think those things were the only thing that actually made them angry. The anger started way before that. Okay? This was just the topping on top of it. They just put the topping, the cherry on top. Ruto just put the cherry on top. But that idea, I think, might flourish in a place like Central Province. It's populous, and it's not really, they don't necessarily fall under one particular leader. That's why I gave you the example of why they did not even want to follow Uhuru Kenyatta when Uhuru Kenyatta was trying to sell them Raila Odinga. Okay? Now some of them are following Rigathi Gachagua, a good number chunk of them, the youth, but not all of them are buying into Rigathi Gachagua's Rigathi Gachagua's nonsense. I mean, Rigathi Gachagua he knows, he's playing to the crowd. That's why you see he keeps everything about what he talks about is Murima, 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 because he wants to harvest. He wants to be the Raila Odinga of Central Province. You understand what I'm saying? But the people of Central Province care about their pockets, okay? Economy. I'm not saying the rest of the country does not. I'm just saying, all right? Because really, I hear some people are saying, oh, you know, I had a wonderful commentator yesterday who was, not commentator, but, you know, somebody who was giving their view there and saying, you know, the people of Central Province, they're not happy with being in the opposition. They're not used to being in opposition. Watch our kaya huko. And I'm like, I don't think they care less. At this point in time, the people of Central Province can care less if even, they don't even care if Rigathi Gachagua is made the vice president again. I don't think they care. I don't think they would care. I don't think they would care. I don't think that's their concern as of right now. Okay? So this whole idea of, you know, people getting, they understand it. They understand it. They understand that just because they're perceived leader or anyone who has been put in government, let's say is a CS, cabinet secretary of education or whatever the case is. How you doing? They understand that that does not mean that real development shall be brought in Central Province. Okay? So, for example, Ichungwa is still in government. I mean, they still have Anne Waiguru and whoever, all those governors that are in Central Province. They understand that just because somebody, someone from their region is in the government, is in Ruto's regime, they understand that that does not translate to service delivery in their region. You understand what I'm saying? So I don't think to them it's a matter of, you know, our people being in the government, as opposed to, you know, our counterparts in Nyanza Province. Nyanza Province, they still believe in this whole idea. I mean, let's be fair. There's a lot of youth who do not look at Raila Odinga as that guy anymore. I mean, they do have respect for him because of whatever historical contribution to Kenyan politics, but I don't think they take him seriously at this point. Now, there might be whispers, because I don't think there's a lot of people who can come out in Luo Nyanza and say, Raila is a con man, we are sick of him, we're tired of him, because that will be deemed as disrespect. And like I said, Raila operates in Luo Nyanza as a mafia. The ODM is a terrorist group. You go out there and name anything against ODM and you'll be stoned to death. So there's not so many voices speaking about Raila Odinga, against Raila Odinga, okay? So that's the difference. That's the difference. That's why I'm saying the idea of tribeless, leaderless, and partyless is more sellable in Central Province than in Luo Nyanza. But it's not impossible. You understand? I'm just using the two extremes because I think the two of them are in two different, politically, they're kind of in a different political mood, okay? And this has to do with the general perception, okay? Now that the Kalumas are, Raila Odinga has an MOU with the president, okay? And the Wangas and Kalumas and Robert Alais are working so hard to convince the people of Nyanza that, hey, we are going to bring Maendeleo. You see the, whatever his name, the Minister of Energy, CS of Energy, whatever the case is, Opio and I, Mbadi, he wants to tax every road that you use. They're trying to convince the people of Nyanza that, listen, we getting into this government, now that we are with Ruto, you are going to have some fruits. You are going to see some fruits. We are going to bring some electricity. Which is bullcrap. And the majority of the youth in Nyanza understand this, but they haven't reached that point where they can, they can actually go out there and say, hey, listen, this is bullcrap. You're not buying it. Because this whole language, this tribalistic language, is a very venomous language that affects a lot of people. It's easy. Listen, if I can't listen, let me explain something to you, and I'm not getting off topic, so bear with me. Let me explain this to you. If there are two people who went to Luo Nyanza and one tells you this, listen, I have this idea, let's not buy into this whole Raila Odinga thing. This, Baba with ODM, he has been there, he has been in politics for a long time, and we haven't seen any fruit. He has been in these handshakes since Moi to now, and we are seeing nothing. We as a people, we don't see anything. It's just him and his relatives who are gaining. Okay? So why don't we embrace this idea of being partyless, leaderless, and tribeless, and join other young people in the country to actually chart our own way? That's number one. Then somebody else comes in and tells you, hey, listen, you know what? You know why we've been suffering all this time? It's because historically, we've never been in government. Look at our people. We've never been in government. Finally, we had an opportunity. Look at our people. Mbadi is in there. He's in Sijui, wherever. One guy is running around. Our people are now getting into government. Okay? Don't listen to those people from Central. Those people in Central, they do not like you. They are the reason why you are there. How I may enjoy you. They've been in government since, I don't know. They had presidents. I don't know how many presidents. We haven't even had one president. But now we are in an opportunity. We are in the government. So don't listen to this whole idea of tribeless, whatever. Come, let us just go ahead and bring you some Maendeleo here in Luo Nyanza. Wacha mambo ya tribeless. You cannot. How can you lead if you are tribeless and you are partyless and you are leaderless? What are you talking about? Sisi, you've never been in power. Now it is our opportunity. We took on our power. We have this first treasure. You see the argument here. Which one, especially considering the nature, how divided we are historically along tribal lines, which one will probably move you? Because it's all about emotions, evoking emotions. Okay? The demagogues are now working hard. Who will move you more? Okay? And you've been suffering. Because then you'll see, hey, you know what? Why are the Central people complaining? They've had Kibaki, they've had Uhuru, they've had Nani, Baba Uhuru. We haven't even had anybody. Raila now has just getting the new. He's bringing our people. He's putting. You see how it's easy to fall into that. But if I came here and told you, listen, how about this idea? Tribeless, partyless, and what? Leaderless. Leaderless does not mean that you shall not have a representative. That's not what it means. It's just the idea that we cannot be dependent on one person making a decision for all without any consultation or any accountability. That's the whole point of being leaderless. You understand? It doesn't mean that at some point we shall choose our representatives. I see you, Principal Kaur, nice seeing you. You understand what I'm saying? That's what I want to tackle. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Okay? So do not fall into this, people who are coming, how are you going to lead? If you remove Ruto, how are you going to lead? You're leaderless, you're partyless. The whole idea is to not, because as I've explained to you, how these political elites, historically, they've structured the patterns of voting through three things: party, tribe, and your perceived what? Tribal leader. You get it? That's why if you look at Ukambani, Kalonzo is the tribal leader. He has the Wiper party, which is the party of the area, ambayo inachukulia Wakamba wote, and if you go there with another party, utaipata wewe. Okay? So they've already locked that that area as Wiper. Wiper ni ya Wakamba na leader wao ni Kalonzo. Musikuje na mapati yengine hapa. Go to Central. Jubilee is the party. The leader is Uhuru. And it is for the Kikuyus. Usikuje na party yengine hapa tunatuambia sijui nini. Go to Rift Valley. Party ni UDA. The leader is Nani? What is his name? Ruto. Now usikuja hapa sijui, and it's for Kalenjins. Kuja hapa na party yengine mtaona. Go to Nyanza. ODM is the party. The party leader is Raila Odinga, and ODM is for all Luos. That is the perception. Go to Western. Leader is Ford Kenya. I mean, Ford Kenya is the party, even though, you know, the western part of Kenya is being broken down. It's fragmented as of now. There's so many parties that are making inroads. There's the Tawe people and whatever the case is, okay? But generally, before that, it used to be the Ford Kenya, okay? Ford Kenya used to be the party. You know, the leader was there, you know, what was his name? Well, after Kenya, Kijana Wamalwa, who was there? There were several leaders, okay? Let me just say, Natembea, okay, Natembea. Or Oparanya, okay? Or Kalwale. You know, there are so many leaders up there. But, you know, Natembea, of course, is making inroads. That's what I'm telling you. But Eugene Wamalwa with his party, I don't know, I forgot the name of the party, okay? So you see what I'm saying? That's how it is structured. It is structured to lock you in by using your tribe, your perceived tribal chieftain, okay? So you vote by that. Your tribe, your perceived leader, and the party that this tribal leader is in. So wakisema left na nyinyi mnaenda left. Wakisema right ni right. That's how they've structured it. So mko kama robots. Ndio maana you can see them, they will confidently go to their local television and tell you, you know what? Tumepiga hesabu hapa, Rift Valley, Nyanza, hapa, Coast, nini. We know how much we can get. But that's what we are trying to break. So in order to break that, you have to reject this notion that Uhuru is the leader of Central. Raila is the tribal chieftain of the Luo Nyanza. Kalonzo is the leader of Kambas. It's a tall task. It's a big ask. I know, yes, I know, but you can do it. We did it. June 25th showed us something. If there's something to go by. You see what I'm saying? This idea, and we can dress it up as Gen Z, as it was. That's why it was dressed up as Gen Z. The young people are saying, no, 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 no. Look at what Caswell did. Not Caswell, sorry, not Caswell. What's the other guy? What's the other guy from what's this guy from Kisii? What's the guy? Morara. He fell into the same trap. The first thing he was so quick to do was to do what? To start a chama. The first quick thing that Morara did was to start a political party. He's falling into the same trap. And look at him now. He's quick to join into a coalition now, Kina Martha Karua and Matiangi. Oh, we shall, and they're dressing it up as this. Oh, we are now going to beat Ruto. I'm sorry, the coffee ilimwageka kwa hii ninyo yangu. So it looks nasty. But anyway, see how they're confusing you. They're telling you we are coming together so we can defeat Ruto. I've been singing this song and I keep on singing it. Listen, Ruto is the symptom of the disease affecting Kenya. He's not the root cause. So removing Ruto and voting Morara, removing Ruto and putting Raila, removing Ruto and putting Karua, removing Ruto and putting Matiangi, removing Ruto and putting Kalonzo, removing Ruto and putting Matiangi and I don't know who, will not solve the Kenyan problem, underlying problems. Will not. You're just changing a people. Ni kama una change striker. Unatoa Lukaku unaeka Osimhen. Unatoa Van Persie hapo unaeka sijui nani. Eric Cantona. You people who follow soccer. That is not the problem. I've been telling you guys, mweke Matiangi hapo leo acquire president for the next 5 years. The same things will go on. There might be improvements hapa pale kidogo tu. Just enough to keep you up there. But the under corruption it ended. I mean, listen, for those of you Matiangi fans, Matiangi has an active. To this day, he has defied court orders as we speak and is running for president. And some of you are like, hey, Matiangi. I mean, I don't have to go through the whole shebang about Matiangi. Because this is not about individual. Even though I go hard on Martha Karua, yes, Martha Karua is just like the rest of them, but that's not about Martha Karua. It's not about an individual. I'm trying to say this. This is how they trap you into this whole structure that they've designed for you to fall in line with. Brother Benson, I see you. Rebel salutes. For those of you who don't know Brother Benson, he has a channel, a wonderful one. Go check him out. His channel is called Brother Benson. Type it on YouTube, you're going to find him. He's up there with Kevin Obura and Makaure. Not Makaure, what's his name? Migoda. Yes, Migoda, yes. Wonderful panelist. Go to his channel and subscribe, share, like, comment, and do all the good stuff, okay? So that's what I'm saying. Wameweka structure ambayo wewe utafall under without even thinking. You won't think. Wewe utaenda hapo. Because vile siasa imechacha. Listen to me. Let me give you something else. Ooh, shabalabla. Let me give you something else. Siasa ikichacha, because now, listen. The big question is this. In Kenya, right? This is the big question, right? I'm playing to what's happening right now as of today. The big question is this. Of all these people, you know, every time you speak about politics, the number one question people ask you is this. Who do you think is best to replace Ruto? That is what the number one thing that will be asked. Even here when I come in and I say, hey, we should change the system, we should change everything. The number one thing they'll tell you, who do you think is the best person to replace Ruto? That's the question they will ask you. Wewe unasema system ichangiwe, hebu chagua mtu wako tujue ni nani. Umekataa Omtata, umekataa Matiangi, umekataa kila mtu. Who do you think is the best to replace Ruto? And I keep on telling them, it's not about individual because, ndio maana, let me answer you like this and listen to me very carefully. this is how it usually plays out. Siasa itachacha, tunakaribia 2027, then they shall start us telling you this. Okay, we can all agree we don't want Ruto, but here is our alternative. Tuko na alternative. Hii ndio alternative sasa. Alternative ndio hii. Alternative ni between Matiang'i, Karua, Gachagua. They'll go and meet and see who among them can stand up against who? Ruto. But before them, guess what's going to happen? Already it's happening. Ulisikia speech ya Gachagua. Gachagua is more open with it than anybody else. Ulisikia speech ya Gachagua. Gachagua speaks like this. Sisi watu wa Murima, si mliona tulikaribisha Ruto? You know, he's speaking as if he's speaking for all, what? The Kikuyus. Si mliona sisi tulimwamini, akakuja hapa na Biblia, tulimwambia akitoa mtoto wetu Koome asikanyage hapa Mount Kenya, Murima. What is he doing? Remember, kiddies, rounds are cheaper than plane ticket and border walls. Huh? I don't get that. But yeah, karibu, yeah. But you understand what I'm saying? The point is, Gachagua, what he's doing, and energize. He's a demagogue. Gachagua is a demagogue. I'm just using it as an example. He's not the only one who's doing this, my friend, by the way. What Gachagua is simply doing, by doing that, he's evoking emotions, tribal, okay, laced with tribal bias, unaona, to psychologically, okay, psychologically, tether, kukufunga, ufikirie, to look at politics through a tribal prism. Unaelewa? Ndio maana nasema, sisi watu wa Murima tulipigia Ruto. So nimuliona, okay? As much as you might not like him, he's actually doing something psychologically to you. The same thing Raila Odinga does. He will go to Nyanza and say, "Simuliona, haya, sina Ruto tulishikana naye. Alafu nini, and he'll speak in the Luo and say, sinaona, tukashika huyo jamaa, nimemshika kwa mkono. Sasa akifanya hivi niko naye. Na mnapiga. What he's doing is this. Psychologically, okay? He's preparing you. Amechukua consent yako. Ndio uanze kuangalia hii siasa as a person from Mulima. Unaona? Juu anasema, unaona sisi watu wa Mulima tulifanya hivi. Now if you're listening to that and you're from Lima, you're looking at it, you know what? Enyewe Gachagua, majority of us tulipigia Ruto hapa 2022, alitukujia na Biblia. You know, you don't think it loud, but that's what goes through your mind without even realizing. Because it's true what he's saying, but he's shaping how you perceive politics through the tribal prism. You understand? You're not thinking about the issues and how the underlying issues, if we are to take Ruto, okay, out, will it actually prove, will we have the Kenya that we want? And the alternative that this demagogue is telling us, is it somebody that will actually bring change? You understand what I'm saying? So while it sounds like an empty, local, normal demagoguery, it's actually a psychological weapon, a powerful one, because historically, that's all we've been going on to. So we have to break outside of that. It's happening, and it's a tough battle to fight. But it's there, it's becoming ripe, because watu wanafunguka macho. We are looking at these leaders na tunawaangalia, hata wakituambia hii mambo ya ukabila tunasema, lakini hata kama unatuambia ati wewe uko minister wa ninio, wewe Mbadi, wewe ni minister wa sijui treasury. Barabara huko, tukienda huko Suna, bado barabara hatuoni maendeleo bana, Wewe sijui nani, Wandai. You are sijui nini wa energy. Tukienda Luo Nyanza bado hata kuna stima na wewe ni mtu wa energy hapa. Unatuambia sijui ya Dani iendelee tupende tusipende. You see what I'm saying? Hata wakina Matangi wakienda huko nini wakina Ndindi Nyoro sijui shy inafanya shy. Nobody's buying it because we are realizing mchezo ile tunachezewa. People are not buying it because when we look at the action, hakuna action, it's lies. Raila Odinga, who was being looked at somebody who was really was for the people. You know, this was his last major handshake that actually opened people's eyes. This was the last major handshake that opened the people's eyes. He cannot stand up and convince us that any handshake he comes out to, whether he calls it MOU, handshake, whatever the case is, it's not going to resonate with the people. Because people are now sitting and look at it. They're like, lakini wewe Raila wewe. Sina handshake ulikuwa na Uhuru. Vile ulishikana na Uhuru. Ulishikana na Uhuru hapo handshake. Did the economy improve? Corruption iliisha. Extrajudicial killing there. Did it end? No, it did not. Sasa hii ya Ruto ndio itafanya kazi. Na ile ulishikana na Moi zile siku, zile za Moi. Na ile ya Kibaki ile nusu mkate. Raila wewe. No bwana wewe. Wewe you are not for us. Watu wanashika. Understand? Ruto is a gone case. No one even wants to hear his voice. Nasikia naenda, I heard he's going to Central Province. Ameenda kuwachokoza tu. I don't even know what he's going I don't know what he's going to do in Central Province. But he's going. But anyway, tutasikia kwa menu. Is it this weekend or something? I don't know when. But you see what I'm saying? This is all connected with 2027. The two issues, the 2027 question and the idea of partyless, leaderless, and tribeless are not mutually exclusive. They are interrelated. Are we really going to have an election in 2027? Are we really going to have an election in 2027? Are we? Because somebody was talking about a referendum very soon, in June. I heard somebody, referendum in June. Mnanisikia lakini? Do you see what's happening? So it has to start from the local politics. The local politics. Was it not Clinton who said all politics is local? Yeah, it's true. Local politics. Are you brave enough to break into ODM strongholds and say ODM does not have a monopoly in Luo Nyanza and say we are tribeless, partyless, and leaderless? We are not taking our orders from Raila Odinga. Are you bold enough to do that? Are you bold enough to go to Sugoi, Eldoret, Kapsaret, Kapsabet? Is it Kapsabet? Yes, whatever, those wonderful places. And tell the people of Rift Valley, UDA does not have a monopoly in Rift Valley. Are you willing to go to Murema and say Jubilee or whatever party that Martha Karua came up with, or whatever party Gachagua wants to come up with, does not have the monopoly here? We are partyless, leaderless, and tribeless. We are going to, in fact, I would like to see the Kenyan people say, for example, if we had an election in 2027, I would like to hear a majority of Kenyans say, we are going to the ballot, but we do not have a political party. We are not going to vote anyone on the ballots in Neo. Okay, that doesn't make sense. Let me just use this. If there was an independent candidate who's of integrity, can pass chapter 6 or chapter 10 of the Constitution, 2010 Constitution, has a good track record, wants to overhaul the whole system, does not have a political party, but offers himself. Even though with this IEBC, I don't expect him to win, he or she, I'm just using that as an example. The point I'm trying to get at is this. Let's move away from this Kenyan politics, political parties. Let's move away from them. If you remember, get out of there. Get out. Stop taking orders from these perceived political leaders who are nothing more than the perceived political chieftains. Tribal chieftains. That's what I'm trying to get at. Let's say we don't want a lead. We do not have a leader. Let's think for ourselves as individuals. Sorry, it's hii shuka nimeweka kwa kichwa. That's what I'm saying. Unanisikia? That's what I'm trying to say. Let's not take orders from the perceived political leaders, political parties, tribal chieftains. Let's move away from that. Let's think for ourselves. Let's be a people who come together, are being brought together by ideas. The first thing we should do is to revolutionize the system. Unajua watu wakiambiwa revolution wanafikiri ati ubeba bunduki na kwenda kuchapa watu bunduki hapo na tuende ninio tuchape. No, that's not revolution. Revolution means a total overhaul of whatever system, like the political system that we have. That's what I'm trying to say. Because mpaka usafishe nyumba, okay, ndio uanze kuleta wageni, watu ambao wataninio. Usiposafisha nyumba, watu. And I know some people are saying, oh, we can only go vote for somebody who will bring in change. You cannot vote somebody to bring change because the political class have made sure that wamefunga every opportunity where an outsider can come in and vie for president. And even if they do vie for president, that person who you say that is a good, that he will can defeat Ruto, they have the referees, referee ashahongwa, IBC. And the referee will do ile kitu umejua wanafanyanga. Enda kaulize Chabukati and Hussein Ali and all of them. Rest in peace, Chabukati. I didn't mean to call your name, but you see what I'm saying? Unaelewa sasa? That's why when people ask me, who do you want to who is your candidate? Choose your candidate. Unazungumza hapo unapika, who's your candidate? Kenya Rebel. Nawaambia mpaka tusafishe nyumba mwanzo ndio tuanze kutalk about who is the candidate. Hao marifari wanaenda kuchaguliwa, they are already compromised, washahongwa. Unaona? So ndio maana nasema the political class wameshafunga your system. It's been locked in. Ndio maana nasema hata for example, wacha nitumie Okiya Omtata because we like using Okiya Omtata as this wonderful person who might bring change. Hata uweke Okiya Omtata hapo ati ana run for president. Seme, for example, he's not a candidate of my choice, but I'm just using him as example. Hata uweke Okiya Omtata hapo hivyo. Okiya Omtata cannot win the elections because the electoral system, the IBC, the independent body that is tasked to oversee the process of voting, they get to count the votes and they get to declare the winner. And newsflash, they've been handpicked by Ruto and Raila. So do you think Okiya Omtata will win? Even if you vote for him overwhelmingly, he will not go anywhere. Na hata kienda kotini, jaji atawekwa hapo Supreme Court ambao amechaguliwa na Ruto. Si ndio maana wanataka kumtoa Koome. So you tell me how you're going to put this person who is going to kneel. So the only way is to do what? Article 1. Hatuwezi kuimpeach Ruto. Unaenda kuimpeach na kila mtu hapo legislative body ameshanunuliwa. Article 1, the sovereign people have to exercise their power directly. Kwa sababu our representative, including Ruto, wametuangusha. That's your, again, answer. So the structure that the political class have put in place these pseudo-political parties, which are nothing more than money laundering machines, okay? Whether it's UDA, ODM, Jubilee, I don't know, Ford Kenya, Purple Party, hizo zote za ujinga, NAK Kenya, name them, all of them. All of them. They're nothing more than laundromat. Unaenda kuwasha pesa ambao umepata ninio, or extortion, unalipa extortion fee ndio ukwae member, unakuwa nominated. And they are used later on, they use those political party to negotiate their way into political coalitions or post-elections political coalitions. Kama hiyo MOU unaona alafu watu wanaingia kwa government. You see what I'm saying? That's why we have to promote this idea. Hii idea, listen, hata kama Gen Z are not active right now on the streets, we have to promote this idea of partyless, leaderless, and tribeless. It has to be promoted. That's the engine. Stop buying into these political parties, which are nothing more than vehicles, tribal vehicles. We call them political parties, but in real sense, they are nothing but tribal vehicles that are used to extort, launder, okay, and do what? Mislead a particular tribe into consenting to vote for these political criminals we call political elites. Tell me one successful political party in the history of Kenya. Name one successful. Don't tell me about ODM has been there for 20 years. I'm talking about successful. And how do I measure success? Political party ambayo imeleta maendeleo, a real tangible success to its people or to its members. Whether it's KANU, KADU, Ford Kenya, NAK, ODM, Safina Party, sijui dini, Green, whatever hizo zote. Which one? It's not working because in Kenya, people start political parties for the very reason I just explained to you. To use it as a vehicle, as a tribal vehicle, a tribal voting basket to be inherited, to be harvested and given to the political class to use to go negotiate their own personal what? Deals. Ndio maana unaona Martha Karua quickly formed a party. Morara quickly formed a party. Unaona? Sin Morara alikuwa part of Gen Z and he was talking about Tribeless and all that stuff. But as soon as akaona opportunity, akaenda inject party. Why did he start inject party? Because he can go and negotiate with Gachagua and Martha Karua and Matiangi and all that stuff. Eugene Wamalwa, Lonzo, apate kacheo. Sawa akiingia kwa serikali, he'll be the youth leader or whatever, ataekwa minister of sports and young people nonsense. You know, these presidents now, they have 52 cabinets against the constitution. We're only supposed to have 22 slots, but the Ruto have created 52. What makes you think Matiangi, if he becomes the president, limited to what constitution says, which is 22? Ataeka 59, aeke watu kila mtu huko, Kalonzo, sijui nani, Morara atapewa hapo minister of sijui youth affairs and something else. Yani ujinga just to, you see what I'm saying? That's why I'm saying these political parties are nothing but tribal vehicles that are meant to be harvested by these tribal chieftains masquerading as party leaders who use this political vehicle or tribal vehicle as leverage to negotiate for their personal deals, gain at a national level. Understand? Write that down. Write that down. I can't even repeat it. Go write that down. That's the definition of it. So we have to maintain. But anyway, guys, it's been 1 hour. I've been ranting and raving. Do me a favor before you leave, or if you're going to watch this on repeat, hit the like button. It's free to like it. Just hit it. Okay? Put the notification on. Like I say, if you haven't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. My name is Ken the Revolutionary. We'll talk more on politics. Next time you might see me, I might be in the studio and we can have a discussion. I'm again. All right? Peace and blessings. I'm out.